In this video, we're going to go through some examples of networks and systems design in action. You do have a student-paced link in your Canvas course, but know that you're not required to do any of the activities on it. Just use them as a resource and as a way to follow along as I'm going through these slides. So networks and systems design is broken down into two concept areas: hardware and software, networks and the internet. When we're talking about the standards here, you do have the placemat that is available for you if you'd like to go through and fill them in or use this as a resource. You may note that some of it may be filled in by others that are also taking this course, but you're welcome to make a copy of it, delete out anything that you don't want on there, and then build it your own way. So first, we're going to talk about hardware and software. So this one happens to be built right into Nearpod, but you can certainly make this in whatever resources you have available to you at your district. But this one has the idea where you would build the diagram and then label each of the parts. It has a reference document for you to be able to see how input and output could work as you're going through and exploring the different parts of a computer system. Great activities to do with your students. You could also bring in an actual computer and have them label the parts or pull a computer apart. This might be a really great time to bring in your IT department to showcase how they work with computers. There are videos that are built into this course. You are not required to watch them all, but they can help bring down or bring awareness to you on how these standards could look like in action. For example, this video shows two boys trying to figure out how to dial a phone number on a rotary phone. So could be a great one to watch to think about how different things work, to see the thinking process, and you can start to talk to your students about input now to output. This also could be a fun activity to do with your students, is to hand them a rotary phone and see who can figure out how to dial it. You also will have access to the code.org YouTube page. These videos are going to be super helpful for you, especially if some of these concepts are fairly new to you. The videos are going to be very detailed and really help understand or help you and your students understand what we're talking about with networks and systems design. And quite honestly, there's videos that cover all of the standards. So while I'm mentioning it in networks and systems design, this might be a great one to subscribe to because it will help you with all aspects of the New York State computer science and digital fluency standards. Moving on to the last one in hardware and software, and then moving into networks and internet. Again, this one is built into Nearpod, but you can certainly do this or build something like this in Canva or whatever, or Kami or wherever you build different activities. Here, this one is a simple drag and drop where you have the purpose of something and then you would move the items into the correct place. All right, so you can see how that could really be helpful as you're going through and talking about different parts of a computer. I mentioned student help desks. This is a great time to think about whether or not you could develop one for your school or even just for your classroom. If you have jobs in your classroom, have a tech help or a tech expert be the one of the jobs that the students have, so they practice troubleshooting and figuring out how they can correct anything that's going wrong with their technology. Moving on to networks and the internet, this last one here, we're talking about where items are stored. This is a great one. I did mention earlier that the last one is emerging technologies. So this one is some of the emerging technologies we're dealing with now in education. So you can take a peek at this article and maybe assign different ones to different students to have them do some projects around. You could also showcase different ways that we have, or different emerging technologies that we're familiar with now. This one happens to be a virtual reality one that's built into Nearpod, but you can certainly go to 360cities.net or go to Google Arts and Culture to find plenty of images similar to this one for your students to explore. This could open up a lot of opportunities where you can tie it into math or science or social studies or ELA. Just this image alone, you could have the students discuss the architecture in art. You could have them look for different shapes for math. You could have them talk about where this is and the history of India. You can do this as a storytelling where you can have different perspectives. What would be different from a person that's up on the tower versus somebody walking on the ground here, somebody that's standing over on one side, or so on. So, lots of different ways you can use virtual reality images to really bring the ideas to life for your students. There is also resources as far as different days throughout the year. This one happens to be World Backup Day, where we're talking about hardware and software and making sure that we're backing up our software correctly. But there's other days that you can celebrate throughout the year. For example, the entire month of October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Digital Citizenship Week happens to fall during that, and then there's different cyber days throughout the year. So if you look at your holidays, or your look at your calendar of events, there may be some things that you can do to really bring the concepts as a event at your school. So you're going to have access to this Padlet in the Canvas course as well. This is a great place for you to start to think about um, ways that you can do these standards in your classroom. So you'll see that the examples will be on there from the state. You'll see some other people who may have put some different things on there, and then the activity books that have been created out of Wish We BOCES will be located in here as well. You'll also see a Jamboard activity that you can certainly explore if you'd like. It has all of the uh, activities that the state had put together, and you can kind of categorize them and figure out where you think they belong. If they've been moved around, there probably has been somebody else who has played around with it, because Jamboard is open for anyone. But you can always duplicate it by clicking the three dots and making a copy for yourself, and then you can move all the pieces yourself. So if you have any questions about these standards or anything in the course, please use that question part of your Canvas page. And you do have a copy of this both as a student paced link and as a preview link if you'd like to use this as you're going forward. That really covers everything with networks and systems design.